Warriors of Fenris. We are the sons of Rus, the inheritors of his savage legacy. We are the fury of the storm and the pitiless wrath of endless winter. We are the keepers of oaths unbroken, the sky warriors of Fenris. We are the howl in the dark. We are the space wolves. Ours is a saga sung across the stars. It is a tale that encompasses the deeds of heroes beyond count. It is one that now draws towards its inevitable conclusion. From the great rift spill terrors untold, born upon the tides of the warp, prowl the traitor and the alien. The sea of stars seethes with the craven and the cruel. In the belly of the All-Father's realm festers bitter heresy. Doom approaches from all sides. Still, we stand in defense of humanity's realms, we who are battle-forged and rhyme-hardened, we who cleave to oaths sworn 10,000 years ago, we to whom loyalty and duty are all, we who are sworn to do battle until the bitter end, until the wolf time dawns. Then, perhaps, the Primarch will walk once more amongst us, and we shall make war at his side. Until then, we hunt for the All-Father, for Fenris, for Rus. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the forces, factions, and of the Warhammer 40k setting. The grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace. There is only time for war. If you wish to see the channel flourish, then like and subscribe, but also consider joining our Patreon or throwing a one-off tip in the form of a super thanks, if I have indeed earned your bounty. And today, I shall be reading some updates from the new Space Wolves Codex. Alas, there is no story in this book, even a small one. I am also finding that there really is not much that has altered between the 9th and 10th codices, and I find this lamentable. Why, you may ask? Because Games Workshop changed the game from a setting into a story, but the drip feed of the new lore, which is required for a story, has been woefully underbaked, if it exists at all. Hence, I may not do too many of these updates on the codices, and longer, more sumptuous videos will be coming from next week onwards. A tiny stint of burnout has curtailed my powers as they are, but I hope to be properly satisfying you again very soon. And I'm just off for a trip up to Warhammer World for a weekend of, well, war, so I hope this recharges my flagging batteries. I apologize that I have not been serving you better in the last couple of weeks, and I thank you for all of your patience sticking with me. Now, on to the lore. Hall 703 score more does the fang conceal in bedrock bowels. Of blessed chambers and vaults scarce known, none so revered as Bjorn's own shrine. Before golden seal, the true claw stands in repose, neath Morkai's twin-headed watch. Silence, his only companion. Yet the fell-handed shuns the death wolf's beckoning howl. His last battle yet to be fought, his vigil not yet done. When the shadow of war falls across the fang, then do we call upon his wisdom. Then do we call upon his icy claw. Then shall he stride to battle. Bjorn the Fell-Handed, last of the company of Rus. Save for the returned Primarchs, Bjorn the Fell-Handed may well be the oldest warrior in the entire Imperium. He alone amongst his battle brothers knew Leman Russ personally, fighting in his Wolfguard during the tragedy and bloodshed of the Horus Heresy. Indeed, it was Russ who bestowed upon him the epithet he wears to this day, When the Primarch departed the Fang for parts unknown, it was to Bjorn that leadership of the chapter fell. Bjorn's reign as Great Wolf came to an end during the Proxima Rebellion, in the latter days of Millennium 31, when he was wounded so severely that even the Iron Priest could not mend his body. So it was that he was interred within the frame of a dreadnought. Since that day, he has been awoken to fight only rarely, usually at times of great portent, when Fenris, or the Imperium itself, faces an apocalyptic threat. Of all those who have interacted with Bjorn over the years, none know him better than Ulrich the Slayer. The Wolf High Priest has often roused the fell-handed to benefit from his wisdom. These occurrences have become more frequent since the eruption into being of the Great Rift. Ulrich alone knows Bjorn's inner thoughts and his absolute belief that Russ will return. Bjorn will not go easily into Morkai's domain until he has fought again at the Primarch's side. The dreadnought body in which Bjorn's physical remains reside is a masterwork relic that dates back to the days of the Great Crusade, and perhaps even beyond. Its adamantine frame is adorned with gilt iconography depicting the symbol of the Great Wolf and the pelts of monstrous lupine creatures, though Bjorn himself bears no love for such finery. On the rare occasions he is deployed to battle, the Iron Priests may outfit Bjorn with a variety of potent ranged weapons, including rapid-firing autocannons, heavy flamers, and plasma or las cannons. Occasionally, he may even march forth from the Fang armed with a Hellfrost cannon. Bjorn's signature weapon, however, is True Claw, a gigantic customized lightning claw that harks back to the weapon Bjorn wielded as a flesh warrior. Bjorn has fought in more battles than his failing memory banks can recall, amassing a kill tally greater than many Space Marine chapters. He has lost none of the combat prowess he displayed when fighting at the side of Leman Russ, and has slain rampaging greater demons, ended the ambitions of sneering Drukhari Archons, and brought ruin to traitors beyond count. Yet he believes that his greatest battles are still to come, and steadfastly refuses to abandon his duty. He is determined that, should the wolf time come to pass, he will stand beside his brothers and face his final battle without fear. 'Neath summer's brief fire was he born, and in winter's chill dark did he find his home. Weird Bane his name, earned and chosen well, the low cunning of the wolf was his gift. In Wolfguard's serried ranks did Torval Weird Bane march, and to the cry of "Russ!" was steel-blue Vorskir drawn. Fangs bared, he joined the fray with savage vigour, and so was Vorskir's keen edge made crimson slick. Amid sword clash did Gnarlfist meet his doom, and in Packmoot was Weirdbane his inheritor proclaimed. And so, denying curse and fate, Weirdbane in his pride decreed the sigil of the Spirit Wolf would be his own. In vengeance did dusk wolves put the Red One's sons to sword, and in their snow-melt tread were made mountains of the dead. On tides of madness the warp spawn came, their lurid magic setting skies aflame. Down they swept with malice in their blackened hearts, and on the lives of the innocent slacked their cruel thirsts. Unto the cries of the meek Weirdbane did hasten, blade in white-knuckled grip, the bloodlust upon him. The wolf lord of the Blade Moot stalked, through storm-swept gloom with amber eyes narrowed. Silent shadow was he, and steeped in Spirit Wolf's cunning. Blood-claw thrust and long fang fire masked his approach, whilst whispering demon sent forth feathered spawn. With Vorskir he struck, and blood ran like summer thaw. No son of Russ quailed that day, no demon left that corpse-strewn field. The era Indomitus. The blood upon the slopes of the Fang had barely dried when Abaddon the Despoiler's 13th Black Crusade descended upon Cadia. The Space Wolves, most notably Sven Bloodhowl's Fire Howlers, played a vital role in the ensuing conflict. leading his great company in an assault upon the Black Fortress, Will of Eternity. The Wolf Lord disabled the vessel's shields, allowing the Imperial Fist Star Fortress, Phalanx, to land the killing blow. Despite Bloodhound's apparent sacrifice, the despoiler eventually achieved his objective, sealing Cadia's fate by crashing Will of Eternity into the forest world's surface. Unable to confirm the fate of their Wolf Lord, the Wolf Guard of the battered Fire Howlers ruled in his stead for a time, eventually settling upon Hrothvir Runescar as his successor and becoming the Rune Marked. The destruction of Cadia was swiftly followed by the manifestation of the Great Rift. As this event unfolded, the Space Wolves' Rune Priests heard through the warp the bestial howl of expanding empiric storms and, for a moment, experienced sheer horror as the Astronomicon's light guttered across half the Imperium. The Space Wolves had been depleted by their punishing defense of the Fenris system, and were already engaged on dozens of fronts at the moment of this disaster. Elements of the traitor legions, tides of demons and other thralls of the ruinous powers surged out of the rift. Aggressive Xenos species were awakened by the tumult or sought to exploit the weakened state of the Imperium. The great companies fought on regardless, suffering through casualties in bloody assault after furious rearguard action. Reinforcement came in the form of an unexpected visitor, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, Rebute Gilliman. He brought with him fresh recruits wrought from the gene seed of Leman Russ, alongside new technologies and genetic enhancements. Whilst these recruits, none of whom were of Fenrisian stock, were initially treated with suspicion, the Great Wolf authorized their induction into the Great Companies. These new warriors soon proved true sons of Russ, distinguishing themselves in battle and demonstrating the savage ferocity typical of all Space Wolves. In an attempt to prove their worth, many of these new warriors opted to undergo the test of Morkai. The majority passed, but no small number failed to return from Fenrisian wilds. Rearmed and reinforced, the Space Wolves set out on campaign once more. The initial battles of this new and bloody era included a lengthy campaign against Magnus the Red's 1,000 Sons, resulting in a costly defeat and the traitors seizing much of the Stygius sector, thereby establishing a domain of vile sorcery within the bounds of reality. Victories were won too, though all were costly. Meanwhile, the Rune Priest's attempt to divine the correct course of action resulted only in cryptic visions and grim revelation. The return of the 13th Great Company, the emergence once more of Magnus the Red, and the awakening of Rebute Gilliman. All these events were believed by the Space Wolf Psychers to be the last verses of the fateful saga known as the Wolf Time. Sagas yet told. As the reaving force of chaos cut a bloody wound into the heart of the Imperium, other foes roused to life. The Orc warlord Ghazghul Thraka, scourge of Armageddon, rallied immense hordes to his banner. Learning of the threat, Logan Grimnar recalled as many of his wolf lords as possible and set about forging a plan to combat the growing horde. Monitoring the movement of the Orcs, the sons of Russ sought to intercept roving Orcoid warlords before they could ally their forces with those of Ghazghul. The Great Wolf hoped this strategy would deny Ghazghul the required warriors and slow the Orcs' grinding advance. In the Hjalheed system, Bran Redmoor's great company encountered the drifting hulk, Krakamorg. Infested with Orcs, the huge twisted mass of derelict vessels had been vomited from the warp onto a collision course with Yaldheim Secundus. Boarding the Space Hulk's infested mass, the hunter packs of the Bloodmoor cut their way to its heart. They held off wave after wave of Orcs, buying time for the Iron Priests to set their melter charges against the warp engines of several derelict vessels trapped within the Amalgam's twisted mass. This action would prove to be merely the first engagement of a burgeoning war, for even as the first charges detonated, Redmoor's Rune Priests divined more Xenos foes surging towards Yaldheim. Meanwhile, hundreds of light years distant from their battle brothers, the Blackmanes and Sons of Morkai descended upon the Skarsgård subsector. There they fought and defeated an Orc invasion force on Sibhal, though the world's production facilities were almost destroyed in the name of victory. The Iron Wolves, Sea Wolves, and Death Wolves were ordered to undertake a tri-pronged assault on the Orc-held world, the Kaides. There, amidst constant lightning storms, the Space Wolves' Thunder Cavalry, armed vehicles and bike squadrons fought high-speed skirmishes with ramshackle Orc vehicle formations. This intervention met with little success, the wild psychic power of the Orc War causing the entire horde to disappear in a conflagration of rampant empiric power before it could be culled. As these conflicts unfolded, the Drake Slayers and Fire Howlers turned their attention to purging Orcs from the Promethean refineries of Gavos, and the Grimbloods set to work disrupting Orc fleets in the Narion Reef. Logan Grimnar's champions of Fenris led the defense during the siege of Gotgard, drawing as many Orcs as possible into a series of delaying actions. Ragnar Blackmane, impatient for glorious victory, began his quest to hunt down Ghazghkull. With characteristic confidence, he believed that he could end the threat once and for all. His hubris would almost result in his demise. On Krongar, he attempted to put an end to Ghazghkull, suffering terrible wounds in the process, yet managing to lop the head from his opponent. Yet even this fatal blow could not stop the Orc rampage, for Ghazghkull was soon restored to life by bizarre Orc science, and has risen bigger, angrier, and more aggressive than ever before, with his eyes on further conquest. Yet Ghazghkull's Orcs were but one of the innumerable threats to the Segmentum Solar. Distress calls from Armageddon spoke of unfolding violence in the planet's polar regions. Logan Grimnar diverted his forces to that world, aiding a small force of Grey Knights in confronting the ever-increasing numbers of World Eaters and Demons of Khorne that had surged through the Red Angel's Gate since the opening of the Great Rift. In the fighting that followed, Logan Grimnar's ancient chariot, Stormrider, was sundered by a demon of the Blood God. The Great Wolf was pulled from the flaming wreckage by his holy guard, rallying to slay the rampaging demon and lead an ordered retreat in the face of overwhelming odds of malefic foes. He has since focused his attention on rallying Armageddon's beleaguered Imperial forces as they struggle to repel the continuing Khornate invasion, as well as to hold off the resurgent Orcs striking from the planet's equatorial jungles. The Shadow Wolf. The Stygian sector lies on the far side of the Great Rift from Fenris. This region of the Imperium has fallen under the malign influence of the Thousand Sons, bitter foes of the Sons of Ras. Cut off from reinforcement, Imperial forces in this sector find themselves outgunned and overwhelmed by traitor forces. Command structures and planetary governments are continually undermined and infiltrated by the nefarious plotting of their sorcerous foes. At the fringes of this madness stalks the wolf-lord Torval Weirdbane and his Dusk Wolves. The Shadow Wolf and his hunter packs provide hope to the Imperium's besieged citizens amidst an ever-swelling tide of misery. Weirdbane himself has taken the heads of no fewer than 4 of the Thousand Sun sorcerers, most notably Kaesh Vral, the whispering despot of Kalimvar, the final victim of the Dusk Wolves' purge of that corrupted world. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. Like and subscribe, tip if I have earned your bounty, and do check out the video description for other entertainment opportunities and codes to make potential savings on games. But most importantly of all, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.